Hey everybody, welcome back to CM Fab. I'm Chris, and this is my 1981 Toyota race truck project. We are K24 swapping it with a BMW transmission. Eventually, it will be turboed. It's already got a 350Z IRS and Mustang 2 front suspension that we'll probably be working on in a later episode of this series. I plan on redoing some of it in later episodes. In this episode, we are making motor mounts so that this engine is no longer sitting on a wooden block for when we go ahead and make our turbo manifold. It's also going to make it easier to move around the shop. That way I can actually clean in here. Anyways, again, motor mounts, finally, let's get after it. All right, so I don't know if you remember from a couple of videos ago, but I showed these. They're actually LS motor mounts for the engine side. I think I'm going to use them as some frame side mounts. So they'll go on like that. I'll trim them up a little bit. They're a little bit tall, but pretty close. And it's pretty even with the engine side there. So I'll go ahead and mark these ones a little bit, trim them up so they fit on the frame, and then make a template to go from the engine to the frame itself. I'm just going to mark basically the inside of these holes and cut it off so it's a little bit smaller than the frame. I can get a good weld around it instead of just welding the two tabs onto the frame. I feel like that could pull off pretty easily, but if the whole thing is welded to the frame, I think it'll be a little bit stronger. Plus, it already has the bushing, it already has a sleeve, all that's already done. I just have to design the engine side to kind of squeeze over this and then a bolt hole to go through it. I think that'll save a lot of time here, and then I don't know, it might not save time, who knows. Either way, I think this will be better than doing like a small block Chevy style sandwich mount or something like that. So I'll go ahead, trim it, cut it out, and then get it clamped to the frame so I can build some templates. All right, so you guys kind of saw me messing around in the engine bay trying to get a template made for my motor mount for the passenger side. And this was the original one I made just to get the angle off the mount. And then this is the one that I kind of cut out to resemble a more final product, I guess you could say. And then I realized instead of bending over and trying to fit into a tiny spot, I would just tack weld some scrap steel to it and then pull the whole thing out. So now I can just do it on the workbench and line up all my cardboard templates this way, tack them in, and then go see if it'll fit again before I final weld. So you can see there, that's going to resemble the exact distance that I need from the engine to the frame, and then the exact positioning between everything. Some of these are going to have to be bent a little bit because this is not quite square, as you can see. So we'll see how I do that. I might have to bend it or cut it into a couple different spots to make it fit. Anyways, I'll go back to time lapse. I'll make some more templates on this so I'm not hunched over showing my butt crack to the camera, and then I'll come back when I got something made that we can cut out of metal. All right, so I got most of the passenger side here cut out and made up. As you saw in the time lapse, I had to bend the plates just to miss the bolt holes here. I want to make it as easy to take in and out as possible, so I didn't want to have to fight getting a ratchet in here. Even though they are Allen bolts, I still wanted to be able to make it room for the ratchet. Next step is I'm going to go ahead and take it back over to the truck, make sure it still fits, and then make a template for the top and the bottom. And then maybe tack it, fully weld it, see where we go. All right, as you can see, it still fits. Still up against the block there, and then still up against the frame over here. So next step, I'm going to template the top and then fully weld it out. Hopefully it doesn't warp too much, and it'll still fit afterwards. So you saw in the time lapse, I got my top plate made. I had trouble with bending it in the exact right spot and keeping it bent. As soon as I would go to put the dimple die in, it would flatten back out. So I'm just gonna tack it to the top here and then bend it down to sit flush right here. And hopefully it'll stay that way while I fully weld it. I got a spacer in here, which is just a cutoff wheel. That way this won't try and open or close as I weld it. There'll still be enough room for the bushing once it's done. And then hopefully it all still fits back on the truck once it's fully welded and not warped. Hopefully. Alright, so I got it fully welded. The top plate came out just fine. Welding the part that I bought to the part that I made was giving me more trouble than I thought it would. I don't know if I just didn't clean it well enough, but I kept getting a lot of porosity. And then I finally got comfortable when I was welding the top part on, and you can see it turned out quite a bit better than in there. I know it's dark, but anyways, I'll let this cool off, and then I will reassemble it and see if it fits on the truck still. All right, so that last little clip, or that last time lapse, was me welding my driver's side mount up. I ended up tacking the top on, and then I ran out of welding gas right when I was about to start welding it. I did get the side plates welded on fully, but as soon as I went to weld this top part on, I ran out of gas. So I since went and got some. That was earlier today and yesterday. So we're gonna go ahead and finish welding this out, and then hopefully it still fits. It hasn't warped too much. We'll see from there. And then hopefully I just tack these onto the frame, and that'll be it. Anyways, let's go ahead and get the bottle and get back to welding. so you can see I got both mounts in there. They are tacked in. I did that off camera just because it's hard to film in that little area without showing my butt crack off. So when I get pants that fit, I'll film a little bit better. Anyways, they are tacked in. They are bolted to the motor. I ended up putting a dimple die in the driver's side, as you can see there. Or sorry, that's the passenger side. Just so they match a little bit more. And that one kind of looked weird without anything. It was just like a big chunk of metal. I didn't really like that. I am still going to plate the bottom of them. I have not done that yet, but this video is already getting a little long, so I wanted to see if they will actually hold the weight with just some tack welds. We're going to do this together in hopes that the motor doesn't fall and I get it on camera that it's crushing something. If this fails, then I'm going to need a new oil pan. So going up little by little. I think we're already off the blocks there. Yep, already off the block. And grab those out. I'm gonna put one down there just in case it does break, it doesn't hit concrete. All right, and then I'm using my old jack because my good jack is back there holding up the trans. So let's go ahead and, I don't know how to use this thing. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, it worked. I guess it'll handle that. It'll handle just holding it there, right? So there is no more big block underneath. It is holding up the weight. Wait, I didn't die. Almost, but didn't die. Well, she's in. Mounts are holding. Hasn't fallen yet. Taking it off the jack was a little sketchy, but it hasn't broken yet. All right, that's going to do it for this one. We got our mounts made. They are tacked to the frame and holding the weight of the motor finally. So now I can kind of push the truck out of the way and clean up underneath it. There is a jack still holding up the trans, but that's on wheels so we can move it. They are just tacked just because I don't know how I'm doing the trans mount yet. So I don't want them to be permanent and then have to change them and cut them back off. Done that too many times already on this truck. If you have a suggestion for future content, let me know down below. I much appreciate them. Some people have already done that, and I've taken it and tried to implement it into the videos. Remember, this is a how I do, not a how to, so don't do what I do. As you saw in that last little bit of me taking it off of Jack, I almost lost a foot. Safety third. Anyways, do all the YouTubey things, like, comment, subscribe. Every little bit helps. I much appreciate it. See you in the next one. Since I am a semi-professional amateur tattoo artist slash welder here, I'm going to hope that I do it right and not put too much heat in there. If not, I have a hammer and I'll make it fit. Yeah, that's it. See you in the next one.